And then, of course, we went to the big main event,
which was Roman Reigns, the head of the table, with the Usos and Paul Heyman versus the Cowboy, Brock Lesnar.
Cowboy Bob.
In a winner-take-all championship unification match for both the WWE Heavyweight and Universal Heavyweight Championships.
Yeah, this was interesting because Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the whole thing, this was legitimately one where I thought he might lose the match because, he's been champion for how long now? 300?
500 some days, isn't it?
Was it?
It was 580 at the point of the pay-per-view.
Okay. So he came in, interestingly enough, I didn't quite realise it till they said it, but they both came in at 6'3". Tribal Chief was 265 and Brock Lesnar 286. So there's only about 20 pounds of difference, but for some reason Brock looks bigger. But interesting though, I think the whole concept, Mick and Anthony, in that a unification match and only one champion now, not the two. So that's obviously heading towards something. And maybe the world champion will flip between both shows now, SmackDown and Raw, which opens up the list of opponents probably a little bit more. So that in itself was all very interesting to me.
I don't mind the concept of one champion.
Oh, no.
I like it better. I like it better.
Yeah, no problem at all. Winner takes all. I thought that had a really big fight feel as well. We were talking about the Becky Lynch match earlier, and we were saying big fight. This was the only other one for me that had that really big time sort of feel to it. I didn't particularly like the end.
The end made sense to me in the way that the match was already sewn up basically with the Kimura, with the double wrist lock, and Heyman pushed the ropes towards him to break the hold. There was an element there where he may have not been able to break in the hold and tapped out. So that's Lesnar's loophole now out of losing the belt, that he believes he had the belt won before.
Well, did you see the pictures of Roman's arm when he did it? He had this, they reckon the shoulder popped out.
Oh, I didn't know that, no.
And he actually popped his own shoulder back in, Roman Reigns, because the Kimura lock was put on that hard, or the way they did it.
It didn't look that tight to me. I don't know if that's a work.
Well, you could see this massive, massive big bulge in a photo in the this part of, although we were only audio, but this part of the arm.
Yeah.
There was clearly an injury of some sort to Roman.
He didn't have the arm cocked right back. Either there was an issue with his shoulder beforehand, because when you put that Kimura on, you got to get the wrists behind the back, and the idea is trying to touch the wrist to the back of the head.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's not out here somewhere. Out here, when you got it away from the body, it's more of a shoulder lock, right? Not a Kimura. A Kimura is a shoulder lock as well, but it's more devastating by putting it to the guy's back. And I know we're on audio, no video, but the idea is to try and touch the guy's wrist or the back of his hand to his own back of his head. That's where the way he had it, he was out wide.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an existing injury, but also too, if there was an injury like that and he popped the shoulder, that's going to require surgery. And we'd be hearing now about surgery to Roman Reigns or some form of, because you couldn't, once you pop a shoulder out like that, it would just keep popping in and out.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because he said he appeared on Raw last night, just promo, and then he said, when I go back to SmackDown on Friday night, we'll reveal what our plans are. Now, he may turn around. I don't think they would do it, but he might turn around and say, I've beaten everybody. There is nobody left to beat. I'm taking the belt and I'm going on holiday, but he might go and have surgery or something.
But I think Lashley hasn't beaten Lashley, I think. if anything, Lashley, every time he's had the chance to win, he's been robbed. He had Lesnar in the Nelson.
Yeah.
And got jumped from behind by I think Reigns. Right? So when he had Lesnar in a few positions, he got jumped. And the only way, so I think that there's probably, with him being face now, there's probably a decent run with him and Reigns there. If the shoulder's really injured, forget that. Once you dislocate the shoulder and all the tendons are stretched, you've got to have surgery to stroke.
Well, maybe they do get Lashley, and it's just not necessarily another 26-second match, but they do something. He gets the belt, and Roman goes and has surgery. Yeah, because what happens is the shoulder's the only joint held in by complete muscles and tendons. Oh, okay.
Like every other joint in the body, or maybe the wrist too, but most other joints in the body are held in with a socket of some form.
Right.
There's some form of socket. Fingers aren't because they move too much, but like your hips, your knees, all that kind of stuff, there's some form of bone holding things in. Yeah. Where the shoulder's one of those joints that's just held in by tendon and muscle. So when you pop it out, it actually stretches the tendon and muscle, and it never sits back in right. Because you've torn things and stretched things, so they have to shorten all that up. And usually if that happens, it's never right anyway. You never get it 100%. Do you remember, I can't think of his name now, Chip Douglas?
Chip Douglas? Yeah,
he used to work for PCW.
Nah.
He had a bad shoulder that would pop in and out all the time because of that. I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. There was one of the guys back in the day that the shoulder would just pop in and out willy-nilly because of that. Because once the tendons are stretched and that's it, So that's why as a wrestler, it's important to make sure that when you're doing your weights and everything, that you're working on your upper back and your pecs and your deltoids, all like trying to strengthen that area up. Because one of the things you are vulnerable against is dislocation of a shoulder. So you need to really hit the weights to sort that out.
So what did you think of the match overall?
I thought it was a good heavyweight main event with a good real fight feel. I didn't mind the finish because it leaves an out for Lesnar.
Yeah.
Right? I gave it a 7.
Yeah, right? Same actually, yeah.
Yeah. I think that, but trying to go after Vince and that, after all that happened there, it's pretty hard to. It was a completely different thing that they were offering with Vince and that.
Yeah.
But it was still very hard to come out after and be successful. Because the crowd had popped already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Anthony? What do you think overall?
Overall, it looked as if it was when you boot up the video game and you give your guy unlimited finishes, you just finisher. That kind of took the feel of it away, the feel of the match away for me on that basis. Was like, it was more, okay, so it's just simply going to be, suplexes from Brock, Superman punch for Reigns, spear for Reigns, F5 and all that. So all in all, like, I was kind of disappointed for the way they built it and the way it culminated. Now I'm thinking, because if it's true of what you were saying about Reigns' injury, I'm thinking they kind of had to rush it.
Maybe at the end, if it's legitimate what they're saying, but I mean, you can see clearly in the picture this massive bulge thing in the arm. So there was something not right. But that was while that Kimura lock was put on. So whether they twisted something just before or whether they went into that to, I don't know. Look, they might have ended at a fraction early, but
it might have been even a torn tricep or something like that. Yeah, you can tear the tricep, and that usually swells up on the back of the arm like a monster when they tear.
Well, that's exactly what the picture was. So maybe,
So it might be a torn tricep, and if that's the case, B's out for a little while. That's surgery.
Well, you just think to see what happens Friday night, Saturday our time on SmackDown.
If they drain it and it's all right, he might be okay.
Oh, okay.
Depends on how severely torn it is.
What do you give it out of 10, Anthony?
See, without knowing that knowledge of the potential injury from Reigns, I was quite disappointed.
Okay.
So I gave it a 4.
Ooh.
Being that I was disappointed, like the way they built it up from, let's go from Crown Jewel, or hell, even after SummerSlam to now, the way they built it up, you wanted to see this match. You wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But obviously, if he is injured, I understand why they rushed it.
Yeah.
But if it was all just, all dirt sheet stuff, then it kind of felt underwhelming for me, to be honest.
Okay.
Look, I'll just add one thing to that, is that when you're saying about a finish fest, I thought that when a finish did happen, the kickouts were last minute and in desperation, right? If I'm watching AEW, and the one that amazes me is the Canadian Destroyer off the top, and the guy kicks out on 2. It's like, it's not believable that you could kick out from that. That should kill you. They made it. It was almost like watching 2 heavyweight boxers just tee off on each other and daring the other one to get up. That's what I saw with all the suplexes and the thing. I didn't think. I thought the concept of their match, and I could be wrong because I'll only know the ones that concept of their matches, but the concept of the match was 2 guys laying each other out with their best moves as much as possible, and neither one of them giving up. Like that Kimura, I mean, you put that on real, you snap someone's arm, you snap their shoulder and their arm, right? Antonio Nogueira will tell you that, when he had it snapped, his arm snapped off at the top here in that move, right? From Frank Mir when they put it on for real. So, and he wasn't going to give up. And then in the end, Heyman pushed the rope towards him to get the break. Heyman gave him that little nudge with the rope, So, but I see with all this, there was too many finish spots. It's like the same thing when you watch an Edge match. Just one finisher after another, after another, after another. I agree with you there on that one, Anthony. I do, But in total, of the 2 nights was much better than I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
I've come out of there feeling,
Yeah, as I said, there was a couple of matches I couldn't really be bothered with, but overall, I think it was one of their better ones for a while.
For a long time.
Overall, I think it was great. I mean, all the numbers are through the roof, gate attendance and money and pay-per-view and all the rest of it. And God only knows, like with merchandise and whatever, but they would have made millions and millions.
The Austin shirts alone. They paid for everything. And
the Undertaker Hall of Fame shirts, just those 2 things, let alone all the other whatever. So look, overall, they'd be very, very happy, a very successful weekend. Or week, because it's a week-long thing with all the stuff they do. So, look, I think they certainly produced a very good show, and it was good. Anywhere where you get 156,380 something through the door, and millions and millions and millions, literally, and your biggest gate ever.
It's impressive. It was impressive 2 nights for him.
I mean, there's not one of us.
I think way too long. I think, honestly, and we will talk about this on another podcast about maybe our next podcast. I'm seriously thinking about saying, and I'll challenge you 2 guys right now for the next podcast. This is an open challenge.
Okay.
Book a 1-night show with these matches, any matches that you want to put onto your 1-night show, no more than 6 matches, no more than 2.5 hours. That would have been a better WrestleMania.
You reckon?
Yep. 2 days is too long. Financially, not.
The numbers don't say that, though.
The numbers don't say it.
What you're saying, yeah.
But the quality of the show.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, there's probably 3 or 4 matches you could have taken out. I don't know that you could do a WrestleMania with 6 matches.
Well, the original one was 6 or 7.
That was
that was for me the best one of all times.
Yeah, well,
no, I honestly believe that. That's honestly the way they pace that show.
Well, you'd have to have the unification match. You'd certainly have to have the
Do you need the Knoxville match?
No.
Do you need the Edge and AJ Styles match? Do you need the 4-way women's match? No.
Well, I'd keep the McAfee Austin Theory and the other one. Certainly the Sheamus match you could take out.
Yep.
Edge and AJ Styles should have been better. That had the potential to be a bloody good match.
Yeah, but it's Edge.
Was it?
AJ Styles versus friggin' if you could book a fantasy match, it'd be AJ Styles versus Austin Theory.
You reckon?
Yep.
I don't know. Okay.
Both guys are good enough to get that match over.
The 4-way ladies tag, I agree. Sami Zayn, although that was extremely entertaining, but you could have got rid of that one. Omos and Bobby Lashley, I wouldn't have. Yeah. Even that RK Bro 4-way tag.
Yeah.
So probably you could have taken out half of the second night or more. I certainly would have kept the KO Austin match.
Yeah, that would have been, for me, would have been main event.
Round the Rousey and Flair. Well, Flair was someone else because you can't have a WrestleMania without
Flair.
Seth Rollins and Cody you'd have to keep. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch you'd have to keep.
You could question Miz and Logan Paul. Yeah, you get rid of that. The Happy Corbin McIntyre match.
Yeah, I would have got rid of that.
You could go McIntyre and AJ Styles.
Yeah, actually.
You know, right? The Bogues.
I think
don't know. Well, they might have, but it's definitely something worth visiting back to. I get rid of Happy Corbin completely.
Yeah.
You know, so the way for me way too long.
1 4-hour show for a WrestleMania. A 1 4-hour show would be okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, but the numbers for them.
I understand. There's more than just the quality.
Commercial aspect was
the commercial aspect is what. Yeah. Is why there's 2 nights. They've hired the venue for longer than that. They've probably got a better rate on the venue by doing it that way, or however they're working on the venue, right? And whatever their thing is, and also too, so I understand about the extra nights and that, but for the quality of the show, it suffered. It did suffer from those matches that we talked about.
Yeah.
The original WrestleMania. The ones that the WrestleManias that have always been for me the best has been every show, every match on there's been a barn burner.
Yeah.
You're actually arguing about which was best.
The WrestleMania 3 is still my favourite.
Yeah, WrestleMania 3 was amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
If they could sort of mirror that every year, that quality and that hype and fine. Yeah.
That's how that day should be. You know, so at the moment they've given you quantity because of the financial commitments and that over quality.
Yeah, look, I think but even some of those matches, there could have been other matches in place of some of them. As I said, we didn't use Robert Roode, we didn't use Dolph Ziggler, we didn't use Finn Balor. All 3 guys who can seriously work.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, and there's probably others I'm forgetting off the top of my head. It could have been
Roode and friggin' Ziggler versus the Usos.
I mean,
David, really good establishment. Damien Priest. I don't know. I think he's lost the boil. He's lost the plot. They've lost the plot with him. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him. These weird. He has these anger flashes and all this kind of stuff, and then they're stuck in with Edge. This was a guy that had a lot of upside, and they're slowly. I don't know what they're doing story-wise. They're slowly killing him. You know, it's killing the character, killing what's going on there. So I don't know what they're doing with him. I've got no idea. It's a bit like the McIntyre. Don't know what they're doing with him. No, I think 2 nights is too long. I understand the commercial reasons for it. I get it. But WrestleMania from start to finish, I shouldn't be able to bag one match. It should be,
true.
That match was great, that match was great, and we should be arguing about which was the best match.
Yeah, it should be a bit like the old Starcades and those sorts of things, where it was the best of the best against each other.
And it's not that anymore. It's more of a, let's get as many people out there who we think we're going to draw, and I could do it over 2 nights because we need to sell all these seats and arena time and time that we've got on pay-per-view or the Peacock. All right. And I think that hurts the quality of the show. Yeah.
But overall, we like.
We're all in agreement. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.